I'm going to give you 10 questions you should ask any accountant before you hire him or her, because there are so many things that could go right and so many things that could go wrong in this new relationship. I want to make sure that you get the very best fit for your company, whether you're using an outsourced accountant like IgniteSpot or you are hiring in-house. All right, let's jump into it. The first question to ask any accountant is, what is your expertise in accounting? Because there are many, many ways to do accounting. It's much like a doctor. If you think about it, you've got podiatrists and you've got dermatologists and you've got endocrinologists. I don't know, you've got lots of different kinds of doctors. And it's the same in accounting. We're not all created equal. And you really need to understand where they're coming from and the skill sets that they're bringing to your business. So ask them, what expertise do you have in accounting? The second question you should ask any accountant you're going to hire is, what expertise do you have in my industry? Now, a lot of people think that accounting is accounting. It's like going to the grocery store and buying corn. You've got multiple kinds of corn and you just buy the cheapest corn out there, right? Because corn tastes like corn. But in accounting, that's not the case. You want to make sure that as you're lining up and comparing accountants, that you're getting somebody with as much industry expertise as possible. Well, it's not always the case, especially if you're in a really specific, narrow subset of doing something. But do your best to find somebody who's been there. Just a quick story. So one of the things that I see all the time are people who are running point of sale systems. If you're not familiar with that term, it's like a store. When you go in, you've got the cash register and the guy or girl's there ringing stuff up and they're typing things into this cash register computer thing. That's the point of sale system. And it's a very specific skill set. And a lot of accountants don't have expertise in POS systems, but they tell you they'll figure it out. And that's a big problem, because your business is very reliant on this machine operating properly and tracking the finances from the very first day. So if your accountant needs 30 or 60 or 90 days to figure it out and they're making mistakes along the way, your business is really going to suffer. So make sure you consider the important parts of your business and make sure that accountant knows what they're doing in those areas. Question number 3 is, can you provide references or testimonials for your services? Now, again, this works for whether you're hiring in-house or you're hiring an outsourced accountant like IgniteSpot. We all have references. It's okay to ask for them, and you absolutely should. Number 4, what accounting software do you use and are exceptionally good at, right? So there are so many tools out there. Yes, QuickBooks by Intuit is the sort of de facto here in the States where so many small businesses are using it. But you've got so many platforms from Xero to NetSuite and on and on. And you really need to understand where they're coming from, because some accountants are very pro QuickBooks, some are very against it. And you really need to know what side of the fence your accountant is on. Question number 5 is all about keeping your data secure. And this is a tricky one, because security is hard and it's ever changing. And we don't expect our accountants to be IT experts, right? And to sort of always be 10 steps ahead of the hackers of the world. But we do want accountants who are very aware of the problem and are taking steps to mitigate that risk. And so ask this accountant, what do you do or will you do to keep my information secure? Now, if they go, I don't know, I'll put a password in place and we'll figure it out. That's probably not a good accountant to hire. You want to make sure that they have definitely defined systems in place to keep passwords protected, to keep workflows protected, to keep documents protected, and so on. Question number 6, you wouldn't think you'd have to ask it, because again, accounting is accounting, right? Well, that's wrong. You want to ask, what services do you provide? Because some accountants don't offer tax work. Some don't provide any kind of consulting whatsoever. Some don't do the bookkeeping or the data entry. And if you're looking for all of the above, you will likely be disappointed. So really drill down and get specific about what they do. Question number 7 is about communication, because you like to communicate a certain way. Like me, for example, I am not an email guy. I don't like email because I get thousands of sales emails a day. It's ridiculous. So I use internal communication with staff and customers and other things. That's how I communicate with the people that I should be communicating with. You want to ask that of your accountant. How do you communicate with your clients? So you might prefer Loom videos or one-to-one meetings or internal Slack messages or email, but you really need to know their tool of preference and make sure that it lines up with your own. Question number 8 needs to be, if you don't handle my taxes, what are your recommendations for getting them done? And every accountant out there should have some kind of system in place to help you with getting taxes taken care of, whether they're your payroll taxes or your income taxes or your sales taxes or your property taxes or whatever. There are a lot of taxes in this world, as you know, as a business owner. So if they don't touch taxes, that's fine. They might just not be good at it. There's no shame in that. But make sure they have a system in place to handle it for you through referral or partnership or some kind of strategy. Number 9 is, what are your fees and your terms of payment? So every firm does this differently, and it's really, really critical that you understand, one, when your first payment will be made and how it will be applied to your bill. Do they do automatic payments as a bake draft? Do they invoice you once a month and then you pay it on a net 30? How does it work? You really need to know that before you get into this sort of situation here. Some firms have long-term contracts. Like at Ignite Spot, we don't. We're month to month. We absolutely don't believe in locking people into 12-month engagements, but many firms require that, and you need to know those terms. I would also be very cautious as you read through the terms of every accounting firm that you look to hire and see what they're doing with your QuickBooks file or your accounting file. Some firms actually will hold that hostage as a way to keep you as a client. They will say that they can't give it to you, or unless you pay all of your money up front or whatever, you can't have it back. It's insane, right? It's like super shady tactics out there sometimes. Now, most firms are good, but I have seen some shady ones, and so just be careful. Number 10 is to ask your accountant how long his or her name is. Do they have any credits, certifications, credentials, any of those kind of things? Are they a CPA? Are they a QuickBooks Pro Advisor? Do they have their master's in accounting? That's the MAAC. Do they have an MBA? Do they have nothing? Like, where are they at? Some accountants come into the industry and they just started off as sort of an office manager, and then the business owner gave them some basic bookkeeping, and then they learned how to bill and invoice. And for some weird reason, this happens all the time. So we have all of these sort of really dissonant ideologies of like who's actually doing what. So make sure that when you're hiring somebody, they actually have the credentials they claim to have. Hey, I hope that helped you as you're considering hiring an accountant. Hiring is no fun, to be honest. It's my least favorite part of running a business, is trying to find and recruit people and get them up to speed. And if that's something that you're not interested in doing because you simply just want the finances to work and you're tired of training bookkeepers on how to figure it out, then consider using Ignite Spot. If that is of interest to you, you can go to our website. And before you do anything, let us do some work for free for you, just to see if we're a good fit. At the very top of the screen, there is a button you can click that says to get a free QuickBooks file review. Go ahead and click that. You'll get a 30-minute meeting. Often it goes over a little bit because we like to get thorough. But that allows you to see what we can do for you and see if we're a good fit. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.